scientific EBS institution. So the design thinking is something like it is not a new one. So don't think that, dear students, you are my audience now. So don't think that design thinking is something a theory or a concept, so which can be used for getting your theory. It is not like that. Okay, it's something fun. It's something a jolly one. It's something we called like every human minds have it. Okay, so what we will do now, like today, we will not be like an ordinary lecture. We cannot be like I am talking, you will be listening, and we cannot do like that on design thinking because that's not the exact point. So what I have a plan is to have a different kind of interaction. Even if you do not speak, I will give you different ways to make you to speak with me. So that's a specialty in me. I'm a good in communication. I'm a public speaker on design thinking and also faculty mentor on design thinking implementation of curriculum and also on the teaching practices. So with this note, I'm just starting the session. Okay. So let you guys tell me one thing. How many of you like cricket? So if you guys like cricket, please comment cricket in the chat box so that I can understand how many of you like cricket. Dear student, don't worry about the teachers, professors, principals, and everything. Today I am the teacher, and the rest of all the members are students of mine. Okay, including students, principal, teachers, and professors, and everyone are students of mine. So don't hesitate to comment in the chat box. So please drop me a text. How many of you like cricket? If you like cricket, please mention I love cricket in the chat box. So I'm waiting for your reply because every one of us like cricket. So that is why I'm asking you to drop comment in the chat box. How many of you like cricket? No one is in the institution is like cricket. IPL, when Dhoni takes a bat, Virat, RCB, a lot of things will come, right? Is there any problem to interact with me? Guys, let me open. Like, it is nothing going to happen, Like, design thinking is something, even I'm applying design thinking even while I'm talking to you on the lectures. So please don't hesitate and drop me a text in the chat box of Google Meet. How many of you like cricket? If you do not drop a comment, then I call you by the name. So I know 1922K0503 PPG Arts to drop a comment in the chat box. How many of you like cricket? That's great. That's great. Wherever we go, when we ask the student to drop a comment as the first time, because they feel like me a stranger. Because don't think me like a teacher or a professor. I'm one of your good friend who wants to know all your strengths and skills before I'm delivering. So that is how I can give you a diversified teaching on design thinking. How you are. Wow. The one student, 1988 PPG Arts gave, I like cricket. That's great. And thank you so much as the first one who gave the reply for me. Okay. So what I'm going to give you. Okay. So dear, I do not know your name. Can you please drop me the name in the chat box? The first student who dropped comment in the chat box. 192AK 1141 PPG Arts. Can you please comment your name in the chat box so that I'm going to give you a good gift. Pranavi, I'll do one thing, okay? For the first initiative and also for your attitude to expand your communication to me, I'm going to gift you rupees 100 as a reward for the first comment, okay? And what we will do now, it is not right way to, because of the privacy, I'm not getting your mobile number. So at the end of the session, you please drop your mobile number to your Hari Krishnan sir, and he will drop me to me. I will reward you rupees 100 as the token of love and also the initiative towards the first comment on. Okay, this is a promise. I will never drop my promise to the guys. Okay, and thank you, Pranavi. And guys, rest of the guys, don't you like cricket? Mhm. So இன்னைக்கு ஒரு முடிவு பண்ணிக்கலாம். Whatever the teacher asks, will never open the mouth. இல்ல பயப்படுறீங்களா? So do not worry on the aspect of correct or wrong. That's not a matter. But I'm expecting all your reply in the comment box. So if you like cricket, please comment I like cricket in the chat box. Mhm. So everyone are busy. It's all right. So I would like to say there are two type of people who watches cricket because one more reply came in the chat box. Yes, started to come 19 to AC 4537. And thank you for giving your comment. And one more gave the reply I like cricket. So only three students in BGRs like cricket. Even I do not miss any match of IPL. When it is there, I will even mute my class. I'll go to my home and watch TV and cricket. Yes. Okay, one good student here. I don't like cricket. Wow, that's a nice answer. It's all your mindset. Okay. So with this note, there are two type of audience in the cricket. You know, IPL match நடக்குது in the audience who will sit in the ground and will watch the cricket. And those two types of audience are one who will sit just watch the cricket and keep quiet and eating popcorn or snacks, drinking juice, and just watch the cricket. They never do anything. Okay. The another kind of student in the another kind of audience in the cricket ground is who do lot of cheers, sounds, whistles, and they enjoy the cricket. Okay. So that is the audience actually we required in our classrooms also. So that is what the initiative of the student and the attitude of student which is required in my class also. Okay. So don't hesitate to comment or chat or asking any question to me. Okay. So that's a speciality of it. So with this note, I would directly go into a presentation. Okay. So which I made a beautiful presentation for you. Okay. So I just want to be colorful in our classrooms because whatever we teach, that should not be boring to the student. They have to be very, very colorful in the classroom. It's the same that like I have prepared a PPT which is very colorful, which is with the simple concepts to understand what is design thinking. Okay. So this word is very trendy nowadays. So I'm just promising you 5 to 10 years, definitely this design thinking will be one of our part of curriculum and we will be working on it. So the title which gave to me is the design thinking and innovation. So let me take the later part of innovation. First, we will understand what is design thinking and let me discuss about the invention and innovation. Then we will come to know that how design thinking paves to the innovation. Okay. Okay. So design thinking for the preliminary, two things which we want to know. One is one thing which we want to know is the differences between entrepreneurship and the startup. Okay. So everyone is talking about the business. We'll do entrepreneurship. We'll do business. Business is the future. Direct marketing is the future. Even a commerce student, computer science student, every one of us. Even the ISC council is saying entrepreneurship is the future for Indian students. So entrepreneurship can be called as business as well as the startup. Okay. Business and startup are not the same. Both are different. Because if you keep a boutique shop, okay, if a girl student in the class want to start a boutique shop, and if a boys want to run a business like a TV show, that's called to be a business. If you say this is a startup, then your business should have an innovation. Okay. If a business without an innovation is called a business. If a business with an innovation is called as a startup. So these are the two major differences between the startup and the business. People always confused because they even start a small shop and they will say I'm doing a startup. I'm with a startup. It is not like that. Startup is a kind of innovation in it. Okay. So where that innovation leads to the business. Okay, so this is one thing which you want to know before understanding design thinking. And the second one is about the invention and the innovation. Okay, so now the invention and innovation. So these two are the controversy part with all the students. They always think, okay, these two things will get confused. Okay, so when Alexander, okay, let me ask something before the talking about the innovation and invention. I just want you to get a chat in the comment box. Okay, so please drop me what is innovation. What is the mindset as of now about the innovation? Innovation என்ன நினைக்கிறீங்க அப்படிங்கிறது நீங்க chat box ல போடுங்க. Whenever I deliver, I'll be watching your comments and I'll be delivering on the same time. Okay. Excuse me, there is a reply which we want to look at because value in each student is a kind of things. All right. I'll be sharing the screen again. Just give me a second. I'll share my screen. Yes, there is a reply from an action is an innovation. All right. The innovation is something different. Okay, don't think that, and also don't confuse with the invention and innovation. When Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, okay, when he found the telephone first time, so that's called as a invention. இப்போ உலகத்திலேயே முதல் முறையாக ஒரு டெலிஃபோனை கண்டுபிடிச்சு அதை பேசுற மாதிரி பண்ணவர் அலெக்சாண்டர் கிரஹாம் பெல். So that is said to be an invention. The same telephone is redefined and used in a different perspective, like a smartphone, the phone with a camera, phone with the MP3 player, phone with the FM, phone with the video recording, and all essence and redefining as the new smartphone is a innovation. So these are the two differences because you must know the difference on invention and innovation. So where India is looking for the innovation, because already n number of inventions are there with us, but how do we redefine and we will be using for the innovation? So innovation is a different thought process, different ideas, and how we going to use the existing product or existing system into redefined way. So that is what actually my role in the education. So what we will do now, we will redefine the ordinary curriculum. We will redefine the ordinary classroom. We will blend the courses. We will take the way of different teaching strategies where our student and teachers will have a best learning part in the institution. So, so after understanding this invention and innovation, so I'm damn sure that this design thinking concept will definitely give way to the innovation part. Okay, let you understand what is design thinking first. Okay, so design thinking is a human-centered design. It's all focused on the people. It's all focused on the human. Okay, because you know how we called. So whatever, for instance, we can take an example of a classroom. Okay, we normally have 5 to 6 or 7 periods of a class in a day. We will be sitting in a bench, right? We will be sitting in a bench for a long time to listen the professor's lectures. But our seat will trouble us because you know the bench will be steel or a wooden type, which definitely going to trouble us for sitting a long time. So in that aspect, you would have a thinking in your mind. Why don't our chairs will be with the cushions, will be with the soft material, so that when we sit there, we will not be get such kind of pains in our lifetime. So all it is a kind of a human center, which is only focused on a people, because it is a, we can call even it is a method or a mindset, but where it solves a lot of problems in an innovative and creative way when we think about the human centered. So what I will do now, I'll just play a video. Okay. Unless if you not open your mouth, then I cannot drag it to a longer time for an interactive way. So first, you guys watch the video. Okay, I'm going to play it now. After watching the video, we will have a quite long discussions in the chat box. Okay. So let you will be understanding what is exactly human-centered design. Okay. So based on the video, you will understand what is exactly human-centered design, how the design thinking will be focused on the people alone. Okay. So I'll be playing you video. After this video, we will have a discussions in our chat box. Okay. So which is very most required to me. Okay. So I'll play you video now. Just watch it out. All right. All right. So what you guys saw in the video, can you please comment in the chat box? இந்த வீடியோல நம்ம என்ன பார்த்திருந்தோம் அந்த மாதிரி. What actually the observations on human-centered design, what we saw in the video. Is it all about design thinking, right? So design thinking is a mindset. So unless, guys, can you please open your mouth and comment in the chat box? So what we saw in the video. All right. All right. I'll explain you what is in the video actually. Where there is a mall in a country, which all the people in the country are using the elevators to go up in the mall. But the when all together comes into elevator, there is a lot of problems behind the elevator technician because of lot of loads. The elevator sometimes not working when they have lot of load. So what the mall people did that is we have to do something for the human, which to avoid using the elevator. So they had a plan because that Volkswagen, no, they had a plan to make the people who using the mall elevator to shift to the footsteps. So they just designed a piano, okay, piano-like footsteps, because below the footsteps of the mall, there will be music system is fitted. So whenever they walk in the footsteps, the piano will start to sound. Because a lot of people know when there is a sound in the footstep, then people just walking through the footstep and they are enjoying because on the music's what they had they when they're walking. So automatically people mindset thoughts are changed and they have shifted from the elevator into the footsteps. So இது பாத்தீங்கன்னா it's a small idea which is implemented in the footstep in just a mall to convert people who are using the elevator into the footsteps. So that makes the people to enjoy the walking in the footstep. So automatically, after a long time, people slightly shifted their usage of elevator into the footsteps. Even kids, even lovers, even kids, they are enjoying in walking in the footsteps. So that's where the design thinking plays. This is exactly a design thinking because mindsets, in the mindset தான் வந்து அந்த design thinking ஒரு வழி வகுக்குது. So redefining the way what we have is like ordinary thinking விட்டுட்டு we have to do a redefining way. So that's exactly called as a design thinking. Okay, let me go into detail about design thinking. Just give me a second. I'll share my screen. Okay, so this is what I mentioned here as design thinking is a human-centered design. It's an innovative method to solve a lot of problems and challenges what the human have. So with this first example, I'm just going into deeper about design thinking. And now everybody should have in your mind, then what is design thinking? How can I do it? How can I implement all these things? Will I become a design thinking? Will I do the design thinking aspects? So these are all the factors which will comes into your mind. Yes, because design thinking is a systematic process. Okay. Design thinking is a systematic process which works with the 5 stages in the process. Okay. The first stage in design thinking is empathizing, and the second stage is define, and third stage is ideate, and fourth one is prototyping, and fifth one is a test. So these 5 stages are involved in the design thinking process because since it have a stages, but design thinking is not limited to these 5 stages because each stage have different perspective, and you can apply design thinking in each stage and each problems what you have wherever you can apply anywhere you want, all with this help of these 5 stages. Okay, so let me come into the one by one on the stage process. The first stage in design thinking is empathy. So this is very important stage in design thinking because if you fail in the stage, then the whole system will fail. Because I'll say an example to understand that why this stage is very important. Because whatever we do, we normally go to buy a product for our household, right? We go to shop for getting fridge, TV, and sometimes water heaters and a lot of product to us. Okay, but will that product is exactly suit to us? Sometimes I go and purchase a TV, okay, which I want a smart model of TV. After getting the TV, then I can have a different thinking on TV. Why not I have my online class in TV? Why not I have the YouTube videos in a TV? So we will be thinking in a different aspect. We will get a lot of challenges. Sometimes if we watch our online class via mobile, the screen will be very small. So we might have a plan to watch it out in the TV. So in that case, web camera is missing in the smart TV and mic is missing in the smart TV, but it is called as a TV, smart TV. So this is where, because if a product seller or a product manufacturer, they always empathize the customers to produce a product. So that is the first stage in the design thinking, empathizing. Another way of understanding, making you understand about empathy is like, for example, there are two friends, friends are sometimes you may be walking, one may got an injury with an accident. Okay. Excuse me. One may with an injury. Just give me a second. Sorry guys, I just had a water. Okay. So there are two friends you might have. One may met with an injury. So what other friend will do? Sometimes that other friend will be start crying on watching the accident. So that's called as a sympathy. Okay. So there are differences between sympathy and empathy. What we normally do is called as sympathy. இப்போ ஒரு ஃப்ரெண்டுக்கு ஆக்சிடென்ட் ஆயிடுச்சு, நீங்க பாக்குறீங்க, பார்க்கும்போது லைக் ஐயோ அடிபட்டுருச்சு அப்படின்னு ஃபீல் பண்ணீங்கன்னா That's called as a sympathy. But in that same case, if you think, okay, my friend got an accident, what should I do for them? I have to take them to hospital. I have to admit him. I have to do an operation to him. So these kind of thought process and thinking is called as an empathy. So empathy is very much required for us. Okay, when we do a product or when we how we say when we do a product as well as when we deal with the people. Okay, all right. So now okay, let we take a case. Hari Krishnan sir. Hari Krishnan sir.
Yes, sir, sir.
Madam, can I take a minute break? Just I want to have.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. No issues, sir. Take a break and come, sir. Students, please wait a second. Sir will join again.
So all right, I'm back. When we take empathy and sympathy as a differences, because these two are always confused in a person mind to produce a product. Producing product in the sense like we have to put our shoes on. How we say we have to put our heads into someone's shoes. If we want to understand the customer, this empathy plays a vital role because we go and watch them how they feel. We will do a case study, we will do analysis because this is the first stage of projects also when we do. There are a lot of methods which prevails in the empathy. It's called as an empathy map. We brainstorm with the people, we feel the people, we will understand the people because a lot of methods will be evolving to understand about the empathy. So we have to observe each and everything what we do before we develop a product or before we do any action. We need to observe the student and we need to engage ourselves. Then we need to empathize. Few more example to understand empathy is like when a student comes to a class. If a student says, "Sorry, madam, I didn't do my homework," when this reply was to the teacher, then the teacher should not take the decision immediately. The teacher have to observe the student whether he say what he told is correct or not, and the teacher have to watch him clearly. Okay, teacher have to engage with him. Teacher has to talk to the student why you didn't do the homework and what happened, and a lot of discussions have to happen to find and identify whether is it the real problem or not. Okay, so this is the first step. This first step will give you a lot of chances to identify the challenges, because if a person is coming and telling to you that I have to build my home, please build the home, you cannot directly build the home. You have to ask his expectation, how much wood you want, how much rooms you want, how much size you want. Okay, so how much bigger your house has to be, how much floor you want. So these kind of engagement and observation have discussion have to be with the person who telling you to build a home. So this is called empathy. Okay, so this is very great stage, and which is more essential, which other business manufacturers are not doing. They're just building a product and they're directly using for their own thoughts. Okay, but that is actually not suits to the customers. So what I have to do is like, whenever you do any actions, so you apply the empathy in the first part of the design. So the second stage in the design thinking is define. Okay, so once you collect the problem via empathy, you have to define the problem, because you directly cannot assume that is the problem actually. So you have to think what the user needs, what the user insights, and where and who, how, what. We normally call it as a 5 Ws, right? We normally call it as a 5 Ws in our thought process. So let me take into the define part, much more on insights. So define in the sense it's a fixing of problem. So we collect a lot of challenges via empathy, and we will be keeping as it's like a sandbox, okay, where the lot of problems will be in the sandbox based on the empathy, and the user and the developer have to decide whether it is the real problem or not. So he have to think எப்படி இந்த ப்ராப்ளம் வந்துச்சு, எதனால இந்த ப்ராப்ளம் வந்துச்சு, யாருக்கு இந்த ப்ராப்ளம் வந்துச்சு, இந்த ப்ராப்ளம் என்ன ஆக்சுவலா. So these are all the thought process they must have in their mind. Okay, if you do this, then only the real empathy problem are taken as a problem. So also you will get an idea to what we call, that idea will take you to the next stage of the design thinking. Okay, this is the second part in design thinking. And the third stage in design thinking is an idea, right? We understand the customer based on the empathy, and we defined it. Oh, this is how the problem occurred, these are all the ways the problem came. So the third stage is an ideate stage. Okay, this ideate stage is like fixing up of solution. Okay, we have problem, we have a method, how do we solve this problem? Okay, so that is a mindset actually this ideate stage have it. So what we will do now, we will have n number of technology, we have n number of solutions. One question one problem we have hundreds of solutions, but how do we pick the best solution for the class? I mean, but the best solution for the problems what we have. So that is exactly called as a ideate. Ideate in the sense, one example, you already know about the Swiggy and Uber, Ola, and a lot of things which comes out of design. Okay, so this ideate, what we have to do now, we have to fix our problem, and we have to brainstorm all the ideas which is suited for the things. When you take the old idea, which will never help you to a innovation in the business. So what we have to do is you have to take a new idea, so that new idea will comes only on the brainstorm. So you have to collect all those ideas which is behind to solve the problems into a brainstorming, mind mapping method, visualization method. You have to list it out like all pen paper method use பண்ணலாம். You will get a lot of listing in the whiteboards. A team is sitting and discussing about the ideas. And after listing out all the ideas, you have to pick the best one out of those ideas. So that is exactly called as the ideate stage. So if you use technology, then definitely it is going to help you. For example, normally we take in agriculture, because farmers, India's backbone is in agriculture. A lot of farmers still use the old technology to handle the crops. They just go to well, they're just using a motor, they're taking a water and giving it to the plants, right? And they will go do it every routine. They do not know exactly what plant is required. So what we will do now, there are certain companies who implemented different sensors to the agriculture farmers, and those sensors will automatically turn on the motors to feed water to the plants. That is exactly the innovation. That's exactly the ideation. That is a new technology. So that is exactly required to the present market. Okay, so this is the third stage of ideation. So let me go into the fourth stage. After ideation, what we'll do is prototyping, because once we know the idea, we cannot directly invest for a bigger project, and we cannot decide it in a single go. So what we will do now, we will do a prototyping, and we will showcase to the customers. And based on the customer's input, we will redefine the prototype again, and we will be giving to them. So there are different methods in prototyping. Let me share you an example to understand what is prototype. Okay, the same building construction we will take an example. A customer who's coming to the building contractor and he is asking to build a home, and he's saying is an expectation to the building contractor. So what building contractor cannot directly build a home for a bigger project for 40 to 50 lakhs, and the customer may vary. The customer may vary his mindset and tell that, hey, I do not want this design. I want to redesign it. Then directly the building contractor cannot destroy the building, and he cannot do. So what the building contractor will do now, he will build a home like a model with a 3D printing or a plastic technology. He will build a model or a prototype, and he will show to the customer, hey, this is how your building will come. Okay. If a customer is not convinced, if we want a change in a design, then the building contractor will automatically do the prototyping changes, and he will again show the prototype as a small model. This prototype is generally called, இப்போ உங்க காலேஜ் இருக்குன்னா உங்க காலேஜை ஒரு சின்ன சைஸ்ல பில்டிங் மாதிரி பண்ணி முன்னாடி வச்சா, this is the plan actually you have to go through these prototype. So this is how the prototyping stages are in the design thinking. Initially, when you had an idea, you cannot directly go and build it. So you have to prototype it and you have to do it out. Okay. So this is how all the successful companies are doing the prototyping model. Okay. The third picture in the presentation is all about the car, right? A different kind of car. He is just doing a building prototype and showing it out. Okay. Is there any disturbances in the line? Yes, there is a disturbances in the line. Madam, can you please mute them?
Yes, sir. Sir, wait a second, sir.
Yes, ma'am. All right, let us continue. So this is a fourth stage in the design thinking is called prototyping. We can do a small chart, models, prototype, okay, 3D printing, building structures. So these are all can be used for a prototyping model as an example. So this is the fourth stage of design thinking. So never take a decision to build the product immediately. Just have a thinking, idea, empathize it, define it, whether is it real problem or not, then ideate it, use an idea, then finally build a prototype. That prototype has to be very simpler in a way. It should not be wasted your money, wasted your time and everything. So based on the prototyping, you can make any changes which you require. Okay, a model can be done, or a small project can be done, a mini project can be done, a mini model can be built it out. Okay, so this is the fourth stage of design thinking. So let me go on to the fifth stage of design thinking, is a testing. Okay, a better example to understand what is testing. So if you want to buy a sweet, we go to sweet shop. So what the sweet shop seller will do, no, he will be giving you a sample to taste it. எப்படி சொல்றதுன்னா, நம்ம ஸ்வீட் ஷாப் போகும்போது நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு ஸ்வீட் வாங்கணும் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு மைண்ட் செட்டை that user will be creating via testing. He will be giving a small sample of sweet to you. You will be eating it, and based on the taste, you will come to a decision to purchase. So that is the same way here also. Testing is the final stage of design thinking. After building a prototype, we test the prototype and we measure the results. And if the results are not to the expected level, then we will go back to the prototype type. We will redefine the prototype and again we will test. If still the test performance are not to the expected standard, then we will go the process again to the ideation stage where my idea is going wrong. So the design thinking is not a step-by-step process. Design thinking is not a fixed process where you can change all your thoughts and process wherever you want. All right. So these are the 5 stages which is involved in the design thinking. So let me brief you again. So design thinking have 5 stages. First is empathy. Empathy is understanding the customer's problem exactly using a different method. observing, watching, and you will be act like a customer. And after collecting the problems from the via empathy, you will be defining the problem. Hey, this is why this problem comes. This is where the problem exists. This is the reason for a problem. So these are all the defining stages you will check with the problems actually, and you define it. This is my problem. After defining, you will be using a lot of ideas to solve those challenges, problems. So the idea is like picking a best idea from the 100 ideas. So with these ideas, we will be making a prototype. So that prototype can be a smaller in a way, which is economical, less cost, less time, and we will test it on the final stage. If the test is not functioning properly, then somewhere we have missed out. So we will go back and we will be testing it. We will redefining the process which is involved before testing, and we will be making it. Yes, still you may have a confusions in your mind. What are all these five stages? How do the product will comes as an innovation when we have these five stages? Yes, definitely the product will be an innovation one. I would like to show you a different communication model. I mean the different successful product which actually works with the design thinking. Okay. Yes. So based on the design thinking, a revolutionary product came via empathy, because this empathy was very clear with the customers. Okay. Because when we go to shop for purchasing a product, we have to take our vehicle, we have to put up petrol and diesel, we have to wait in a shop, we have to look in a shop, we have to spend at least half a day in a shop to purchase a product which we want. Okay. Where here the Amazon used the empathy method. They empathize the customer, all those problems of a customer, and then they have introduced Amazon. So what we do now, with just using a single click over my smartphone, I'm watching all the products as a display. That whenever I have a time, I can watch it out. I don't need to spend much time to go travel, diesel cost, and a lot of things. So with that, the part of empathy alone, these companies have done a lot of magic and ruling the world with the economical business, right? Amazon, Flipkart, Ola, Uber, and lot many others. So these are all the companies which actually came via the empathy, just the part of empathy. இங்கேயும் the five stages of design thinking இருக்கு. Because the problems which collected is called as empathy, and they have defined, yes, it's an exact problem. They have used the technology, Android technology and web browsers and e-commerce as an ideate stage, and they developed a prototype and they have tested it. Finally, it is worked and it is launched in the market. Okay, so this is how Amazon came. This is how Flipkart came. This is how Ola came. Right? These are the successful model which works with the design thinking via empathy. Because I told you, no, empathy is very important stage in design thinking. Okay, so if you fail in empathy, then your project will get collapsed, because empathy full and full is based on the customers, consumers, people centered, all on the focus of consumers what they want. I just recently have crossed a mobile phone stand. I was using a tripod stand for my mobile phone for the past 1 year. Suddenly it got damaged. So I just went to a shop for purchasing a mobile phone stand which is worth of 1,000 rupees. But the shop seller, no, he have shown a one pen to me, just 30 rupees of pen, where you can fix your mobile phone here. It can be used as a stand as well as the pen. So immediately I bought those two pen to my home. So that is where the empathy works. My problem is exactly suited with the pen for holding a mobile as a mobile phone stand. That's where the empathy plays. So empathy is understanding people feelings and people requirement and what exactly they feel. So this empathy can be applied anywhere you want. Even it can be applied in your classroom, even it can be applied in your curriculum, even it can be applied in your teaching methods, even it can be applied in your learning methods. நீங்க நிறைய ஸ்கூல்ஸ்லாம் பண்ணியிருப்பீங்க. I do not know whether you're doing still, but ஸ்கூல்ஸ்லாம் பார்த்துருந்தீங்கன்னா மல்டிபிள் சாய்ஸ் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் வரும்போது you have an option. When you touch a nose, you will pick an option one. If you touch your ear, and you will be picking an option two. These are the funny ways, but where you did empathize on that lifestyle itself. So empathy is very, very important. Okay. And this one, This is one of the greatest product which comes via empathy, because the places like Rajasthan, they used to travel to long distance to take a water to their home. So taking எப்படி சொல்றதுன்னா, நம்ம வீட்ல என்ன பண்ணுவோம், ஒரு குடம் மாதிரி எடுத்துட்டு போவோம். But assume that the 25 liters of that jug can be carried out for a 5 to 10 kilometers, and just taking a 5 to 10 liters of water is really a challenging one to the people who lives in the Rajasthan. Okay, so what the company decided, okay, we have to, they empathize the people, they understand their feelings and pains and challenges to bring out the water to their home. They developed a product like a roller. Okay, so this roller will carry so much of water, and they need not to carry the roller, they can pull it. That is enough, because instead of carrying, if they're rolling or pushing or pulling like this, will be very easier to them to carry a lot of waters. So this is one of the design thinking via empathy based. Okay, which they have developed a product. All right, so this is one of the best example of design thinking, since we all know, like taking how we call just using a simple mindset, which brings out the design thinking, right? And I have a lot of examples to show you, showcase. So this is one of the CT X-ray machine. Okay, but at the first sight we cannot identify it is a CT scan machine. It is really made for kids. The kids don't feel like it is a machine. It's like a model inside a ship, like a sailor. They will be very happy to go inside instead of fearing to go into X-ray and CT scan machine. So this is also a kind of design thinking which empathy is applied to the kids in a kids hospital for using the things. The kids don't fear for using it because they enjoy watching ship, boat, and everything like a pirate of the things. So this is also one best example of a design thinking. And this one, so this one give you a lot of things in thought process, right? So what we'll do with the cost saving machine, we always use Hundial, right? We always use Hundial for our home at kids enjoy to use it, but we never know how much amount will be inside the Hundial what we use. So this product is a different design thinking product which is empathized. Even we can know how much we are saving the money inside the Hundial, right? So when you drop an amount of coins, so that will gives you the exact count. That is empathy. Because empathy is a simple process but gives you a lot of work insights. அந்த ஹுண்டியல் மேக் பண்ணும்போது நம்ம எவ்வளவு மணி இருக்குன்னு நம்மளுக்கு தெரியாது. So that coin, even a single dropping of coin will count the money what I'm saving. Okay, so this is the real empathy which is done with the kids and also the people who are saving money. And the second one here is rechargeable cell. This is also comes via design thinking, because what we normally do, we will get for rupees 10 and we will use in our smartphone TV remote, and after leaking we will be throwing it out. That is an exact problem with the society. It will not be degrade, it will be remains in the soil, and which will create a soil pollution. But since this idea was implemented where we can recharge all our rechargeable batteries and we can use it for a lifelong, so which will avoid the soil pollution as well as the cost of usage what we're getting for the cell. If you spend 10 rupees for a month, when you take for a lifetime of 50 years, how much money you will be spent for this kind of battery to use in the smartphone. And another example is here. So this example, okay, this example is normally it's like quite funny. How we say, we take a biscuits at the time of tea, we will dip the biscuit and we will eat. Correct? Every one of have these experiences. So sometimes when we dip, the biscuit will get rigged with all of the tea and will go inside the tea. But it is too pathetic to insert our fingers inside the tea tumbler with the heat and we pull out those biscuits and eat. Okay, it's quite normal when we do it in our home, right? So this is the different innovative product which is empathy, which empathy is working, where we can fit the biscuits in the holder. See, the yellow color holder is fixing with the biscuit, where you can dip into the tea and you can take it out and you can eat it. So which is very simpler in way, where the design thinking works. So the empathy is all about, right? The empathy is all about how the empathy works, how you apply the empathy. எம்பத்திங்கிறது ரொம்ப சிம்பிள், இது ரொம்ப நிறைய யோசிக்க வேண்டாம். ஒருத்தவங்களோட பிரச்சனையை உங்க பிரச்சனை மாதிரி யோசிக்கிறது தான் எம்பத்தி, ரைட்? Putting your heads in someone's shoes and understanding the pains and things they have, right? If for example, if a student is keep on failing in a subject, the teacher have to empathize the student. Why did he fail, and what are all the reason? The teacher have to understand the student. அப்போ அந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டுக்கு என்னென்ன பிரச்சனைலாம் இருக்குன்னு டீச்சர் ஹேவ் டு ஐடென்டிஃபை, கரெக்ட்? ஸோ புக்ஸ் இருக்கா, படிக்க முடியலையா, ஹீஸ் மென்டலி ஓகே, ஹீஸ் பிசிக்கலி ஓகே, அண்ட் வாட் இஸ் இஸ் ப்ராப்ளம், டூ ஹீ ஃபர்கெட் திங்ஸ், and how do we apply this empathy into anywhere and find out the solution for the challenges we have. Okay, so that is exactly called as a design thinking. So there are 5 stages. Okay, so which there are many examples are here, which every day a product is coming and successful in the market because of the design thinking. So even so now there are 2 groups of students here, 2 groups of departments. One is computer science and one is commerce. When the commerce is old, then definitely the world will not run much for the e-commerce, right? If e-commerce is not invented, I mean innovated, then definitely the commerce business will be very lower business in the world. But now e-commerce is ruling, right? So that is the technology, that is the way of design thinking. Even for a Swiggy, I can just do it in my phone, UPI came, right? We normally go to bank and we stand. That's how the internet banking came. Even for the internet banking, we have to require a lot of things. So the UPI mode of transaction came. So this is how the innovation brings out our thought process and the requirements day by day in our life. Okay, so this is very important. A computer science people can design a website, design a tool, design a web tool, design an Android app on the design thinking process. Even you can do it for your class. நிறைய challenges இருக்கும். You would have a lot of challenges in your class also. Sometimes like memorizing your mark sheet, grade sheets, scores will be a biggest challenge to the student. So you can create a small Android app which can store your all your marks which you require, which you earn, and using a calculations, you can use an Android app to calculate your GPA or your percentage or whatever it is. So apply design thinking whenever you see the product. Okay, whenever you see any problems, think that problems are the real challenges and the real option for you to explore. So always Ratan Tata used to say, I see problems as and opportunities to work it out, because that is how the nano car came into existence. When Ratan Tata was traveling, there are 4 members in the family is traveling in a bike in a rain, but where Ratan Tata is sitting in the bench and watching them, and he started to think, hey, why don't we build a small car? Even a small family could go inside by our car. So that is how the nano car came into existence, where the design thinking works. So see the problems as opportunities to solve it. Don't think that the problems are a problem which will create a problem to you. Okay. So please assume that the problems are opportunities. So when you think like an opportunity, then you will get a solution. There are a lot of problems. Even teachers are here. I can give you an example to understand what is a problem. Like sometimes if we handle an online class for a 300 student, taking attendance will be very challenge to us. Any app, whatever you're using, Google, Zoom, and Great Learning, and whatever MS Team platforms gives us a lot of challenges to take the attendance in an online for 100 of student or 200 of student. Where a simple Google form will solve all your problems when you empathize the problem, when you empathize it. So that's where the design thinking works. Okay. So definitely when you do these all 5 stages with a greater opportunity of empathizing, then definitely your design thinking will gives you the pathway to the innovation and invention. So both are possible in the design thinking. Okay. So let us say in another example, assume that if your toothbrush is talking to you, if your toothbrush is giving you an alarm at 8 a.m., hey, you have to brush. Okay. So where the design thinking, and also you can check how much times you have used your toothbrush. It's an electronic toothbrush. So this is also a design thinking, correct? So there are a lot of bigger companies are using the design thinking. PepsiCo, Nike, Tata Motors, Apple, IBM, Google, Uber. A lot of MNC companies are using a design thinking to improve their sales. So one best example how Colgate is using design thinking for improve its sales. I would just like to say because it is not going to be a big idea. Okay, it is a simple idea in empathy via design thinking and solve a lot of problems. Because I just want to say a Colgate or a Pepsodent how they increasing the selling of business. Because these two legends took the market for a paste, toothpaste. Normally, என்னதான் மற்ற companies வந்தாலும் we always remember these two Javans, right? One is Colgate, another one is a Pepsodent. But they're selling a lot of product to the consumers in the country of India. They have planned to increase the scales. So they were thinking, hey, how do we improve the sales of Colgate? Since we have large number of customers, but still they want to improve the sales of Colgate and Pepsi. So they're thinking, keep on thinking, their managers and the HRs and the always used to thinking. But do you know how they improve their sales? Even they had a lot of market. என்ன பண்ணாங்கன்னா அந்த சேல்ஸ் இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்றதுக்கு அவங்க பெருசாலாம் யோசிக்கணும். நம்ம என்ன பண்ணோம், அந்த டூத் பேஸ்ட்டை ப்ரெஸ் பண்ணும்போது டூத் பேஸ்ட் வெளியே வரும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நாசில். They just increase the size of a nozzle on the design thinking via design thinking. அந்த நாசிலை இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணனால என்ன பண்ணணும்னா நீங்க சிங்கிள் யூஸ் பண்ணும்போது நிறைய பேஸ்ட் வெளியே வந்துடும். So when much number of paste comes outside, automatically your paste will get closed soon and you will be going again to purchase the toothpaste. So this is the small idea which is used by the Colgate and Pepsodent by increasing the nozzle of the paste outlet, which improve their sales. So this is the design thinking. So you can apply the design thinking in e-commerce, you can apply in commerce, you can apply in computer science programming, you can do a web development, you can do a AI development, anywhere you want. All these technology will support the design thinking. Okay. So I'm again reminding you, the empathy is one of the biggest things which we have a human brain, but we actually not using anywhere we go. So when you use empathy, your all things will get into success. Okay. So these are all the few glimpses which I want to say to you. I'm sorry at middle I got little worried. I'm not well actually. I'm little bit got troubled on those aspects. So what I had is I had a plan to conduct a small assessment. It is not a bigger assessment. It is a small assessment of a 1 mark testing, which I want to test whether you got really knowledge about the design thinking or not. So what I will do now, I will drop a link where you will be having 5 to 10 questions, small questions on design thinking, what we have learned now. Okay, you please reply for those questions, and I will be happy once you do with that kind of things. Where my feedbacks is also rely on those Google form, so which will be helpful for me to improve my sessions on the next time. So I will be dropping those feedback form and also the assessment, inclusion of assessment forms in the chat box. So I request every one of the student as well as the teachers, because like we want to have a different kind of perception how the session is going to help them. Like I just want to take all those assessment as well as the feedback for design thinking. So I request every one of you to fill it. This is alone the happiness of mine. Since I was thinking like I will get a lot of interactions or a lot of things in the chat box, but not an issue. I know students will remain students always. And with this hope and with this thoughts, I'm requesting you to apply design thinking anywhere, anything you see as a challenges. Okay. Definitely this design thinking will gives you the solution. Okay. For solving all those things. So with this note, I thank the Hari Krishnan sir for giving an opportunity to deliver something what I know about the design thinking. Since design thinking is a larger process where so many examples, case studies to understand and feel the design thinking. But I just gave you a glimpse of design thinking, how a company and the process are there. And thank you so much for giving this opportunity, Mr. Hari Krishnan sir, and special thanks to Madam Principal who have gave me contact to invite me for the session. And thank you so much. And I'm ending my session, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Students, do you have any queries?
Madam, after
Sir,
this meeting, please give that student name who I'm promised to give a reward.
okay, sir.
Sure, sure.
Sure, sir. Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir, if a student is not aware of any technology, so how to make use of this design thinking, sir?
All right, madam. All right. So the technology is one part. Okay. It is a single part. It is not going to be a biggest part, right? If we want to work with the technology, then technology is important. There are many problems which is not required the technology. One is that. And the second one is like, I'm damn sure, I'm promising, when student learn in a single month about the technology when he applying for a job. So, for instance, if a student is coming to the class or else the skills, we can take it out a skill. சிம்பிள் எக்ஸாம்பிள் எப்படி சொல்லணும்னா, இப்போ ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டுக்கு வந்து ஒரு ஸ்கில் இல்லைன்னு நீங்க சொல்றீங்க, அந்த ஸ்கில்ல ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டை படிக்க வைக்கிறதுக்கு நீங்க டிசைன் திங்கிங்கை அப்ளை பண்ண முடியும். It is possible to do it. If the student doesn't know the technology, he can build a prototype. And also, YouTube gives us a lot of technology. For an example, computer science would have understand about the Arduino technology, right? They can just learn the Arduino in a single day by watching the YouTube tutorials, and they can apply it. The world is running with technology. Even we cannot separate the streams like commerce, engineering, arts and science. For example, if you want to become an entrepreneur, a technology part must support, a commerce part must support, finance part must support, and computer science part must support, and the core part will also support. So this is how a business comes into existence. So the technology is very mandatory for the student. Even Python, IoT, and robotics, and everything. E-commerce is also one kind of a technology which involves Python and web design, and also the transaction part. So the technology is very mandatory to every human who is living in the country to do a business. That I'm sure. But as your question is like, when they do not have a technology, they can build a prototype and they can show it out. For a technology, they can get an extended support from somewhere else, from the vendor, to have their product.
Thank you, sir. Sir, is that project-based learning is different from this design thinking, sir?
Yes, ma'am. It is definitely different because this problem-based learning is directly getting a problem. Normally what we will get is like, we will take the problems from somewhere from the industry in the problem-based learning. இப்போ எப்படின்னா, அவங்க வந்து நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு ப்ராப்ளமா கொடுப்பாங்க, அந்த ப்ராப்ளத்துக்கு நம்ம ஒரு சொல்யூஷன்ஸ் கொடுப்போம். That's exactly called as a problem based. But where here the problem is defined by you, not by someone else. You have to sit, you have to observe whether it is a real problem or not. யார் வேணாலும் சொல்லலாம். For instance, your head of the department may come and say, hey, this student have this problem, immediately take an action. It is not like that. So as a teacher, you have to sit and think whether is it a real problem of him. Then you have to apply the empathy methods, empathy maps, empathy tools, and check it out whether it is real or not. So that is how this design thinking based problem solving. But I can say 50 to 60% remains same in problem solving method and design thinking.
Okay, sir. Sir, then how to test by their own self whether they have that talent, that is design thinking talent or not? How to make a test by own self, sir?
All right. So you want to know how do they decide they have their experience on design thinking? All right. I'll just share you a case study on it, because in earlier before 2010, I used to have a lot of methods in my mind. I used to think a lot of methods, but I do not know design thinking at that time. Then post to 2015, I started to learn about design thinking. Then I came to conclusion, oh, the methods what I used comes under design thinking actually. So your ideas are design thinking, an inbuilt existence of ideas, and definitely you can test by SWOT. Only on the mindset process you can do it. It's a mindset. When you take on the next day, your design thinking mindset will change. When you take the third day, your mindset will change. But every day you are keep on upgrading with the thought process. So testing in the sense, it cannot be measured. It comes through an experience. You cannot directly say how much knowledge on design thinking I have. Every human have a knowledge on design thinking, but using the situation of empathy and mindset at the right time for a right problem is the only measure to check it out. It comes through an experience.
Thank you, sir. Students, do you have any questions?
Don't hesitate to ask questions. I'm not going to give you.
Yes, don't hesitate to ask the questions with sir.
No problem. Even where the presentation have my LinkedIn ID. In case if you have any
Okay.
questions on it, like you can ask me at LinkedIn. Because like I'm doing a different perspective of design thinking and projects. Since this
Okay, sir.
1 hour will not be enough to deliver as much we do, I can just give the gist of design thinking for me.
Okay, sir. Surely we will contact you in future, sir.
Sure, man, sure. Because we do a lot of
Thank you,
skill
sir.
developments, we do a lot of skill
Okay.
developments, we implement,
Okay, sir.
we apply these design thinking and teaching and learning via methods and tools.
Okay, sir. When the situation becomes normal, we will have the direct sessions, sir, for students.
True, obviously, we do with a lot of hands-on experience.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. You have given a fruitful address. Surely our students will get some ideas about this design thinking, sir. Thank you so much for your presentation, sir.
Yes, madam. The only request on my side is every student have to attend the assessment
Okay,
which I
sir.
have posted, including a teacher's madam. So
Okay,
that
sir. Okay, sir. I will circulate in our group, sir.
sure, sure, madam. I will after end of the day, I will be sharing all those results to you,
Okay,
which
sir.
gives us
Sure,
an
sir.
outcome-based education. And
Sir, kindly share that assessment link to Hari Krishnan, sir, and
sure,
he will circulate with the group, sir.
sure, madam.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call upon Mr. K. Jayakumar to propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, you have muted your audio, sir. Jayakumar, sir.
Yeah, unmuted, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. A warm and wealthy noon to our most honorable chief guest, management committee, delegates, my dear students. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of effort posted on this 5 day skill development program. On behalf of organizing committee, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Mr. B. Jagdish, spared time from his busiest schedule to grace the occasion. Today we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in various aspects. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and shown us a new path. Thanks for sharing your knowledge today. A special mention to our respected principal Dr. N. Muthumani for being the catalyst that stimulated us to do our best and standing as pillar of strength. With a deep sense of appreciation, I thank all students to each one of you who made this event possible. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Dear students, we are expecting your cooperation tomorrow also. Thank you all. Have a nice day.